Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. And today, my friends, we're back with the Kislev vs. Slaanesh showdown. It's going to be myself with Katarina and the Elemental Bear facing off against Professor Pone with Azazel and some Chosen. Azazel looking to find some giant bodies of water to fall in, I am sure. But we are on the Crater of Decay, which is a Nurgle map, and actually probably very scary for me here because there is a Vanguard capture point, so whoever captures this side point on this map does actually get access to a deep Vanguard and a deep basic spawn as well. So if Slaanesh is able to get this, it could get very, very scary, and I'm certainly going to be put on the back foot. Now, this is a super elite build, and honestly, I've had some decent success lately against factions that don't have usually you're going to be seeing Lord of Slaanesh, and the Lash and Slicing Shards can do some damage, but it's not like a Buna type effect or like a Pit of Shades that can really decimate these guys. So you can kind of surprise Slaanesh players who like to spam Warriors and Marauders with elite infantry. So we have tripled Zargard Great Weapon. Now the Shielded variant, of course, would be maybe a little bit more durable in the long run, but I wanted some stopping power that could really cut through Chaos Warriors. And that is kind of what I've been seeing from Slaanesh, is obviously Chaos Warrior spam and or Marauder spam, and both of which the Zargard will be really good against, right? Their high armor will really mitigate the damage of the Marauders, and their great stats, of course, will buzzsaw through the Chaos Warriors. We also got Zarina. She's pretty badass. Just got to go with her because she has some nice AoEs. I don't know if she's the most optimal pick, but she's just super cool. One of my favorite characters in all the game, in Game 3 especially here. So Frostfang, Icebane's Kiss to clear out Marauders, and we do also have Death Frost, a little bit of direct damage Spirit Leech action, and the Big Bear. So the Big Bear is another thing. Slaanesh does have Javelin Horsemen, but they don't have great armor piercing, and the Frozen Heart of Winter, backed up by a Patriarch with some healing, can be an absolute raid boss to bring down. It's unbreakable, it has a Bound Heart of Winter for infantry blobs, and its breath attacks honestly aren't bad either. It's kind of a weird piece that in a lot of matchups you can really catch people off guard, and it works in a similar fashion to like Kugath with Nurgle, where it's like a big distraction Carnifex, but it can actually fight as well. It's not like it's just a distraction. This thing, if you ignore it, will really pound you for sure. So for reinforcements, I have a couple sleds, the Cosfight Dervishes, and Griffin Legion. I like Winged Lancers, but I think Griffin Legion's extra armor makes them a little bit better against Slaanesh's, Hellstriders, which we're going to be seeing in droves, I can assure you. So for Pone, he's got Chaos Warriors, obviously Marauders. He brought a little bit of spice as well. Fiends aren't like super meta, but we were just practicing and experimenting with weird units. So we are going to be seeing the Fiends of Slaanesh, which in theory are okay if they can isolate any of the armor, right? And they do also have that debuff, the Soporific Musk. So certainly don't hate them. Azazel, it's pretty good. He's a goon. He's a good gooning character. He can get in there. He can outduel any of my characters, and does pack a little bit of a punch. So maybe in the late game he could help deal with the Elemental Bear. More Marauders, and also some Chosen of Slaanesh, which are super cool. They're really scary. Chosen of Slaanesh are absolute linebackers. They have physical resist. They're immune to psychology, so the Elemental Bear can't rout them off. They have the trait that all Chosen should just have, but they have physical resist to boot and are very quick by Chosen standards. I mean, 33 speed on that's really fast. Like Chosen of Nurgle, I think have speed in the low 20s. Tzeentch is 28 if I'm not mistaken, so yeah. So I was in chat with Professor Pone while we were playing this, and he's like, oh my god, how the hell do I deal with that Elemental Bear? That was his first reaction. Now, if you guys find yourself in the situation where you perhaps didn't bring the appropriate counters for a big, slow centerpiece, what you want to do is just bounce between the other objectives where it's not. Just focus on those, and when it's moving back and forth, you just kind of snipe the objectives. Especially a very quick faction like Slaanesh is going to be very excellent at that. But the Bear is going to be coming up and securing the point, and Katarina and Zargard. So one Zargard is going to be going to Objective 3, and the other two will be jumping on Objective 1 here to fight off the Mirror Guard and Chaos Warriors. And honestly, too, Zargard could probably almost solo these 5 infantry units. Or not solo, but duo, I should say. So Elemental Bear is coming up, and the dreaded breath attack is coming, so here it comes. Oh, I love it. It looks so haggard. It's just so funny. But yeah, it does some good damage. It does, about 15%. It does end up taking down 12 Mirror Guards, so not a complete disaster. And let's see how much value it accrued. About 155, not bad, right? The Bear's on its way to paying for itself, that is for sure. So objective's going to be opening up, and Slaanesh is going to capture the Vanguard point on the side. I could try and contest it, but Slaanesh will defeat you in open field cavalry fights pretty much nonstop. Especially with these ROR Heartseekers of Slaanesh backed up by Hellstriders, dude, I'm going to have a really bad time. So he also brought the Eternal Entourage. I haven't really seen them in action too much. We'll have to kind of keep tabs. They do have ascending stats. They do have devastating flanker, all that stuff you know and love. I did also summon in some Ice Guard. I figured having a little bit of poke would be good. I didn't go like any other missiles really though, outside of the Bear Sleds, because I was like, Slaanesh is so good at isolating missiles, and it's not going to be a good time. Furies will jump on them. So let's just get one Ice Guard Glaive, which is a pretty durable unit in its own, and just kind of live our best life there. So a little bit of posturing here as Slaanesh does prepare its push. On the far side, you can see the Chosen of Slaanesh as well as the Devoted Marauders looking to move up to objective number 3, and the Zargard going to be just hanging out. But this is going to be rough. I mean, he has good counters here. The Eternal Entourage will absolutely annihilate Zargard. So I bring Katarina, I bring the Patriarch over. We do have a heavy War Slide kind of parked in reserve. And that's kind of the problem with my armies. It's a little bit kind of elite, and on a map like this where the objectives are kind of far apart, sort of, or like not really side to side or in a line with one another, it's much tougher to protect. So the Eternal Entourage does move in, but the Ice Guard do rip some pretty nice shots, and they're able to get them down to a decent amount of health. You can see here they've lost 3 models and are down about 25%. Katarina moves in, and the Tsar Guard are getting massacred, while we do also see the Chaos Furies of Slaanesh move in on top of the archers. But the Bear Sleds are anti-infantry, should be able to kill those things pretty quickly, but the Fiends are piling in, and honestly, I just think he has more stuff here. You can see my Tsar Guard getting absolutely wrecked. Ice Maiden's Kiss, though, from Katarina doing some big damage as the Whip of Slaanesh does go down to the backfield on top of the Ice Guard. The Ice Guard here should have an okay fight. I mean, they're fighting Hellstriders and Fiends, and they are a Halberd unit, so I'm hoping that these ladies will be able to fight off these Demons of Slaanesh, but overall, it's a little bit of a tough one. It's just layering on Cav, because he has his Vanguard deployment, right? So on the backside, he's just Vanguarding in units, which normally would take a long time to get here, so this map, certainly I didn't realize it until we loaded it in, but it's a very, very precarious map for me. It's going to be incredibly tough. But value trading's even, which is a good sign. We do have healing, he does not, so I'm going to be trying to keep that even value trading. The Ice Guard Glaives have gotten about 800 value, which is very good considering how hard they're being swarmed. I mean, they've almost paid for themselves. They're still dragging down some of these demons here and these Fiends of Slaanesh. Up on the high ground, though, the Tsar Guard just basically got isolated and killed. Pone also did bring in some Chosen, so he had like really elite infantry. I don't know how a Tsar Guard unit would do versus Chosen of Slaanesh. Even the Sword and Board variant, I feel, would win. Their stats are just so good, and they have the physical resist and all that stuff. So yeah, really dicey, guys. We get pushed back. Granted, up here it's going a little bit better. Tsar Guard are dominating most of their fights. You can see trading well 2v1 here. The Elemental Bear is just going to be feasting on the souls of these units, and the Mirror Guard's going to be dying. So this is really where we're getting our value. Elsewhere, we're not. Like, the fight down there isn't going super hot. But up here, maybe Slaanesh thought they could brute force through my 2 units, but the Bear is holding it down and doing the work of Orson. On the backside, very dicey. Slaanesh, one of the best factions at isolating and killing as well. Tsarina does get Rampage and is being attacked by Azazel, but I do bring in the Patriarch to try and support, and we summon in the big Griffin Legion. So the Golden Knights of Orson going to be riding through the trees. Lances couched for the Bear. And here they come. They're going to be lancing in to rescue the Tsarina, and they do get a nice charge. And they're pretty good against Hellstriders. I mean, obviously they cost like 300-400 more. I think it's like 450 more. But yeah, they can plow them pretty good. Hellstriders do not have the best armor piercing. And, typically they can actually beat armored cav that don't do a lot of damage. But Griffin Legion are a big shock cav unit, so typically they will do well. And you can see we do sweep up that backfield threat, but we have lost the objective. Pone's sitting on the Vanguard point over here with some routed units, but I'm sure that's just kind of a route that hasn't been addressed yet, and more Hellstriders are pouring in. He's basically trying to pin me at this point, knowing that he has a triple cap on me. He's just going to be trying to stuff me back and keep me from getting on the objectives, and even if he starts to lose out in value, it might take me too long to get back. Unfortunately, Katarina does get hunted. Slaanesh, it's so hard to get away, and Katarina does get chased down to the tree line here. She's gotten 1,500 value so far, though, because I used 2 Spirit Leeches on Azazel and also a couple Ice Maiden's Kists and her Frostfang, so Tsarina, I think I paid maybe 1,700 for, so it's not the end of the world. She at least accrued some value. It wasn't a complete disaster, but still a big loss for me, as it is my actual lord, so I'm going to be taking penalty here. So the Tsarina does fall to the Demon of Slaanesh. Will the soldiers of the Tsarina fight back and reclaim the battle? Looking a little bit bleak, guys. We'll have to find out. But the Bear is really the carry up here. We do get the big Heart of Winter spell, so he uses that to break those units. Now the other Tsar Guard, who are fully surrounded. Look at this. This is like that Game of Thrones scene, the Battle of the Bastards here. But the Bear is going to be moving in and just helping out the boys. Yeah, the big Bear slap. And hopefully we'll get some routes as the other Tsar Guard unit will be coming across. And these guys holding valiantly with the Buy Our Blood passive. I love that. I love how they're just like fully surrounded. Then this giant just spirit of the north just comes in and just starts pounding all these heretics. Now again, this is another reason why Slaanesh is just stupid overpowered. Like, every unit is immune to psychology, so terror just doesn't matter against them. They might as well be undead, right? They have like all the bonuses that mortals have, but like none of the weaknesses, right? It's crazy. So yeah, the Bear's going to be trying, and we should be able to just break their leadership. Back in the tree line, it's getting a little bit pitched, but we actually are able to clean up a lot of the Slaaneshi units. They did overextend pretty deeply to kill my characters. Heavy War Sleds here being hit with a Fascination. I guess Azazel trying to rampage them, maybe. Demon Blade active. Okay, so he's trying to get a little bit of damage done, but I do have a pretty good opportunity here to potentially kill Azazel. I do have him surrounded. I have Bear Sleds on him, which are going to be shooting and ramming with the Bears. He's got Chosen parked on the objective here, and up on the high ground, we do actually end up winning that fight. So that was really big. If I didn't win this one and somehow he was able to kind of defeat me up here, I think that's probably just 100% GG. But we're down by about 600 value right now, but with healing being taken into account, it's probably actually a very even game because I have used several of the Salax Lullabies. And now the Frozen Heart of Winter, I got a little bit of a cheeky idea. I'm like, you know what? I feel like in his army outside of Hellstriders, he doesn't really have much that can deal with the Frozen Heart, and even Hellstriders wouldn't be super good because of its 90 armor. So I'm just going to send the Elemental Bear to his back objective and see if that's enough disruption to kind of take some pressure off this. And also, we do have Azazel trapped. He's been trying to get away, but the Griffin Legion do have pretty good mass, and they are able to kind of surround and harry the Prince of Slaanesh. lancing him down. He's at about 2200 HP. Going to be using a Slicing Charge, which is a really good play from Pone. This will ultimately just annihilate my Griffin Legion, but they're just going to have to take one for Urson here because Azazel needs to die. If he manages to get away, that's another thing that I think would seal my doom. And when Slicing Charge does a lot of damage, that wasn't even a direct hit and ended up dragging down quite a few knights. But the Prince of Slaanesh is at 15 leadership, his 5 armor, not serving him super well. As in the backfield, we see Furies chasing down my poor dervishes, and more and more Hellstriders of Slaanesh coming in trying to save the boy. But we do drag the beast down. So the Tsarina has been avenged by the Golden Boys of Kislev, and there they go. Down goes the Prince. 207, 165. Demonic Crumbling is no joke, not like the Undead. And there it goes. GG. Azazel is down, but we still have a very tough fight, guys. We're severely behind on points. He has a Vanguard point. Thankfully, the bear, though, is doing some work. It was able to kind of rout off some units here. I think he had something here that I just chased off, and he ended up unsummoning it. So now the Elemental Bear is going to be making its way over to Objective 2 in just a moment to try and capture that. So we finally clean up the push in our backfield. He still has the Vanguard points, but we still have this big, just rock-hard Chosen. Thankfully, the heavy war sleds are basically a counter against Chosen. They have really good mass. They're armor-piercing shooting. They're going to be able to run in there and really, really give the dirty to these boys. But Slaanesh able to reinforce super quick from that Vanguard point, which I got to tell you has been an absolute scourge to this game. On one side, though, it has forced many of them to fight in a bit of an unfavorable situation right in my backfield. But, yeah, they've been doing a lot of work. So pulling back here, getting the bear sleds, shooting into the Hellstriders, which are also shielded. So the problem with Hellstriders too is they keep their buffs from their previous life. So when they get that soul scent and you resummon them, they still have it. So they just start off with like ward save, and like 10% ward save on these guys is just lunacy, absolute lunacy. Kosovo Dervishes, Patriarchs, more Griffin Legion coming out. Griffin Legion has been the one thing that's really been helping me out this game. So the Griffin Legion's going to be moving into the Slaaneshi Cav, and I was about to say light squishy, but they're not squishy with the physical resistance ward save. They literally have 30% right now damage resistance against most of my units. They have the 10%, oh wait, no, 20%, yeah. The ward save on the other one was higher. These ones are only 4. The other one had 10. But yeah, 20% can be pretty good, right? So Chosen just chilling at the point. The bear just going for it though, man. This bear's like, I don't give a shit, dude. I'm going for this back point. I'm gonna hang out. I'm just going to park here and see if any of the heretics want to come play. He has a breath attack, and he does have frostbite as well, so he's actually quick enough to catch any infantry that try and run from him, so should be able to put some pressure on that point. Now back here, the Griffin Legion just trapped in mortal combat versus the Hellstriders. It looks like there are multiple Hellstrider units, but the Griffin Legion's 110 armor is holding pretty firm here, still being dragged down to an extent. Chosen causing some problems, but the bear sleds should be able to get back into the Chosen and help out the Patriarch, who's also on a bear too. So the Patriarch on the bear is an armor-piercing character with really high melee attack, so he's not helpless here. He can definitely fight. Now, Slaanesh is going to be going for a little bit of a tricky play. They do summon in the Exalted Demonettes, the Bringers of Beguilement. This was actually really scary. So I got my dervishes. I was basically just trying to buy time. So I start cycle charging here, and we do get some good damage. I mean, many of them do get knocked back. You can see big shock impact, and they take a lot. So just back and forth. Kosovo dervishes are an amazing unit. They are really good. And you can see the euphoric thing is active on them. So if they take a little bit more damage, they could potentially be rampage here, which is very scary. So charging in, trying to butter him up so maybe the Zargard can actually win the fight, but I do get Rampage right there, so you can see the threshold is met, and they are going to be dragged to their doom. The Bringers of Beguilement are one of the scarier grinding units in the game. But the backfield objective is looking like it might flip for the old Kislev, as the Chosen here are not in their element. You know, they don't have good armor piercing, not going to be great at killing these bear sleds, really good at anchoring down a position and being problematic in that regard, as they were earlier in the battle. 69 models, that's what she said, and the Patriarch still grinding. But that objective is going to be coming back into our favor as these Hellstriders just battle against Dervishes and the remnants of the Griffin Legion, a battle which they will be losing. Up here, very scary, but we do have the Kosovo Dervishes battling the Bringers of Beguilement, and the Zargard, you know, they are an anti-infantry unit, so they might be able to punch through them, but overall the Bringers of Beguilement are actually 2v1ing me here. They're just butchering my units, and very scary stuff. Taking a look at their value so far, only 500, but they've been getting cycle charged in 3v1, and they're still trading so well, so just trying to drag them down. On the back objective, the bear is pressuring it, and there were some spears sent here, the devoted Marauder spears, which of course are immune to psychology, but the bear has just been having a field day, basically just chasing them down and plowing them. Definitely one of my favorite units in the game. So, yep, another bear slap going down as the devoted Marauders are shaken. We get some anti-large Hellstriders. Most of them were actually used over here, so that's why you're not seeing like 3 or 4 Hellstriders swarming right here. I think it would probably take like 2 Hellstriders to drag this thing down, like 2 full health ones. And even still, it wouldn't be a quick process. It would take some time, and would allow me, you know, the opportunity to secure the other points. So this is a single cap situation. I need to get that third objective. It has to happen. Up here, we do see the Bringers of Beguilement finally being dragged down by like 3 units, but not before they just do a ton of work. Getting about 1,000 value. I think they ended up killing one of the other dervishes, but finally we got them close to crumbling. They're at 3 leadership here, and more dervishes are being sent in to help as devoted Marauders of Slaanesh do make their way in, and these are the Hellscourge variant, which won't be that good against Zargard, but again, they're just a capture weight unit. That's really what they're here for. So trying to drag down the beast. Chariots on their way over, and here we do have the devoted marauders. We have the remnants of the Griffin Legion who were busy fighting here, but have been doing excellent for me this game. Looking at 1,200 value, yeah, not bad. Getting in here, running into the Spear Arm boys, but they are not going to have a good time. They are basically extremely ill-equipped to deal with these units, even in their very beleaguered state. Up here, we finally get down the Bringers of Beguilement and the Chad Kislev infantry with the Buyer Blood passive, fighting to the bitter end. And how have these Zargard done in terms of value? Probably pretty good. Yeah, 1,300 on these elite troops is really, really cool to see, as the dervishes are euphoric, but not for long. And yeah, Pone's going to be going for the high ground objective because, you know, I just need to kind of hold this triple cap, potential triple cap, for as long as possible. We're definitely going to get this objective. There's literally nothing here that could stop this right now. I don't think there's enough in the battlefield for Pone. I'm actually ahead in value by about 1,000 with healing being taken into account. So he just needs to get an objective really quick and maybe find a way to snake another one, because it's going to get to the point where I can easily win on 2 objectives very, very soon here. We're certainly in that ballpark. So objective 1 is being contested by Pone Dog. He's got the Hellstriders. I'm just sending in dervishes. The Zargard continuing to fight up to 1,400 value. These guys putting in huge work for Urson. And I do have another Zargard on its way up, so he probably is going to be able to get this objective. Slaanesh is just so quick, and my army comp is so slow outside of a couple of Griffin Legion and dervishes. So, you know, I can't quite react like he can, and that's one of the big, you know, power reasons why Slaanesh is so scary, right? Zargard finally get broken, though, after getting about 1,400 value and having paid for themselves against some very tough units. Furies of Slaanesh are really awesome against Kislev, too, because they have armor piercing, so you can basically attack something like a Zargard in the front with Marauders and rear charge him with Furies, and it's a lot of armor piercing damage, which is certainly no joke. In the back, the Chosen have returned. Somehow Palpatine has returned. Griffin Legion getting in there and going to be trying to fend them off the objective, and it will be an ugly fight. The Griffin Legion is going to lose this probably. Those Chosen are big boys, and they still have 30 models against only 13 Griffin Legion, but their sacrifice will not be forgotten by the Tsarina, who I'm sure, you know, with some sort of plot armor, managed to survive. In the back here, Frozen Heart of Winter's chilling out. The objective is very firmly in the Bear's control. The Bear has 3 capture weight, so it would probably take, you know, 1 infantry unit probably wouldn't be enough, but 2 infantry maybe. But obviously Slaanesh is going to be super focused on this high ground objective, and they do get that. So I got to swing this one back. You know, he's only, what, 170 points away from winning, and I'm still a ways off. So we got to fight and get this objective back. Thankfully, the other Zargard unit did arrive. I brought 1 shielded variant just in case he, you know, didn't bring warriors. These guys would be a more effective pick. So the great weapons are a little bit better against, you know, the warrior variant. It's still very good against marauders, but the shielded variant is so durable against like marauder spam. So I went, I think, triple Zargard great weapon and a single of the shielded variant. But this objective is going to be swinging back. We do have the Ice Guard glaives, and the Bear's just kind of holding it down to this point. You can see some Hellstriders get in there, but look at the Bear just slapping him up. As a matter of fact, on the approach, there was actually a huge breath attack that I had. I had 1 charge left, and that's why they're at like half health. So yeah, the Bear's just chilling. I did snake the Vanguard point as well. I sent my Patriarch over there to grab that a little bit earlier in the battle to make sure that he wouldn't be able to kind of do his thing. And now it's going to be Slaanesh just kind of desperately grasping here to try and get objectives. But the Elemental Bear is not going to be taking that shit as it fights on the point. A couple sleds move in, trying to help. The back objective being slightly contested, but it's mostly just Hellstriders. Patriarch gets in with good capture weight. Dervishes and Immord Zargard great weapons come out of reserve, and the Ice Guard glaives are back. And they actually got some good value this game. GG, well played. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It was a really interesting game. You know, neither of us brought the most meta builds. Like, as far as his build goes, he brought a Chosen, he brought some Fiends. But, you know, aside from that, it had the Hellstrider spam, dude. It had the 2,300 on this one, even though they were summoned a couple times. 1,800, 2,500. They were probably each summoned twice. But even with that being said, they clearly paid for themselves. Look at that. 23, 18, 25. Hellstriders are just insane. The Bringers of Beguilement just about paid for themselves, so not a bad run for them. And yeah, the Chosen got 1,400 value too, so even his off-meta units did do good. And Azazel himself got about 27, a little bit better than Katarina. But yeah, Elemental Bear carried. There was really not a whole lot Slaanesh had to deal with it, and was able to get over there and just get that side objective. And I think that was the end of the Dark Prince's reign. So hopefully you guys had a good time there. Let me know your thoughts on the build. Have you guys tried out Elite Kislev? If you have, let me know if you've had success or if it's been crushing defeats, as I suspect it would be in a lot of matchups. But against some of the demon factions, I think it can work. GG, well played. See you guys on the other side. And that is going to be it for today.